Welcome to St. Cloud State Campus. Today we'll take you on a brief tour of the campus and a little bit of a history of it.
An interesting part of the history of the campus is that when they were excavating for the new library, they came across a burial ground, and the assumption was, and of course before any major excavation for a building, they always have to do an archaeological search on the ground to make sure that there are no things of importance historically that should be accounted for. But they came across this cemetery, and immediately they thought it's a Native American burial ground. And in fact, when they looked a little closer and did their various tests, they found that it was an old settler cemetery of English heritage settlers. So there's now a marker just in front of the library showing that an earlier stage in the settlement and history of St. Cloud before there was a university here. That was part of the development of campus, inadvertently discovered along the way.
The Great Mississippi River, which is right behind me, has influenced and inspired the course of St. Cloud State University's history. Even the university hymn penned by Amy Dale and Harvey Waugh, recognized by the river's flowing waters and its islands fair, may the loyal sons and daughters they endure, friendship and share.
In the early 1900s, a company called the Burbank Company actually used to have barges come through the river carrying beaver pelts and different pelts throughout the area. And they actually became one of the main navigators of this area of the Mississippi River. And due to their knowledge, as well as due to just the growing commerce of the area from fur trade and everything, it allowed St. Cloud to grow into the city that it's become today.
St. Cloud has a deep Native American history from the Ojibwe and Dakota people. Ozate is the Native American word for St. Cloud. It means the fork or the parting of the roads. The Mississippi translate as Big Water or Father of the Waters. It earned its name as a major waterway for the Ojibwe and Dakota people and other earlier settlers of the region.
This is Whitney Overlook. It's actually just behind Riverview Hall, the oldest building on campus. Whitney Overlook is actually named after Wheelock Whitney, Kim Whitney, and Sally Whitney Pillsbury, all of whom actually attended Riverview. They were some of the first students to go to the St. Cloud State Unit School.
Alright, this is the Eastman building on St. Cloud State campus. It was built in 1929, and there is rumored that there is ghosts within this building.
So this is the inside of Riverview, which is actually the oldest building on the St. Cloud State campus. It was built in 1911 actually with a $60,000 budget, which seems pretty significant. But it was built to be a normal school, which normal school is just a term for a school specifically built for teaching teachers. So an education school, just like what St. Cloud State is often known for today. In 1988, it was added onto the National Department of Interior's list of historic places, which is pretty cool as well. And in 2009, it was renovated to look the way it does now.
Both buildings are interesting, Eastman and Riverview, because they're right alongside the river, and you'd expect that on a regular campus to be something that would be showcased, and that river view, which is built into the name of the building, to actually have a really good view of the river and maybe even have some walkways and really enjoy that location. When in fact both buildings, Eastman and Riverview, face away from the river. And that goes back to a time when rivers weren't necessarily the scenic attractions that they are today, that in fact they were used for a lot of things that we don't deem very good today, as sewers, open sewers, as places to go dump waste of all various kinds. There was all sorts of trash in the river. It didn't smell very good, the water quality wasn't very good, there was all sorts of things coming from upstream, and so the buildings wanted to turn away from the river. They wanted to ignore that part of St. Cloud. It wasn't something that was deemed desirable by any means. So if you look at a lot of the buildings and even the houses along the river, especially on the St. Cloud side, the older side, they tend not to make a feature of the river at all.
Thanks for joining us today for the St. Cloud State tour. You learned about a brief history of campus, and thank you very much.
In